Welcome to the channel's book club. We begin today's episode by mourning the loss of one of Ghana's foremost authors, Professor Kofi Awoonor, who was among scores of people shot dead in Saturday's terrorist attack at the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi, Kenya. Regarded as one of Africa's most extraordinary poets, Mr. Awoonor also served in several political roles in Ghana. Until his untimely death, he was the chairman of Ghana's Council of States, an appointment bestowed on him by the late President John Atta Mills, and in 2009 was elected to chair that advisory board. We will definitely miss him. One young and budding talent meets an experienced international award-winning writer. That's what happened when the 2013 Channels Book Club Prize for Literature winner, 15-year-old Eniola Oladipo, met with the gifted creative writer, Sefi Atta. This took place at the Yellow Chili in Victoria Island, Lagos, and we'll be showing how that went in today's episode.
It's so nice to meet you, and congratulations on the prize.
Right, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you as well.
When did you find out?
Oh, well, I found out on the day that we were called for an interview. It was around the evening, so basically they started from the third, the second, then to the first, and when I found out that I won, it was quite an amazing feeling. I felt so elated.
Was your heart beating when they were counting from?
Well, slightly. I wouldn't say I was too excited about it, but
from fear, not excitement.
Oh, well, from fear? Not necessarily.
Good, you're confident.
Yes, yeah, quite.
That's great. And then your reaction was?
Well,
big smile, no doubt?
Yeah, certainly a big smile. I was quite happy and I felt that my hard work had paid off.
Yes.
So I was quite happy about that.
Okay, so let's talk about this wonderful essay and how you approached it. Obviously you read the book.
Yes.
Things Fall Apart. One of the most widely read books in the world,
yeah.
I have to say.
It certainly is. It's been translated into so many languages. Over 10 million copies have been sold worldwide. And I heard that it's even being taught in the literature curriculum in American high schools.
Absolutely, I've taught it myself at university level.
Oh, really?
And I think it's a book that travels well.
Yes.
Travels well.
It's been able to cross continents despite the fact that it's been set so long ago. It's still relatable to the 21st century reader.
Right. And to you, were you born in Lagos here? Or?
No, I was born in England.
Okay. All right. Actually, it's irrelevant. You grew up here.
Yes.
And how did you relate to the book when you were reading it?
Well, and I think Chinua Achebe was like amazing in just relating the story to me. Even though I wasn't familiar with the settings, I still had a sense of understanding of the way, the culture, and the life of the clan of Umofia.
Your approach towards analyzing it, which is a very difficult thing to say, and I'm not saying that in any kind of patronizing way, because I find it very difficult to write reviews myself. I think I've written about 2. How was it for you?
I think I felt it was actually slightly easy because I've always found it easy for myself to criticize.
Yes.
So, well, the first thing I did when I read the book is I pondered. I just let it sink in before writing everything down. I thought of the book over and over again and tried to think of the book in many perspectives and not just one way. So I asked myself, okay, this book was written in 1958. So why was it written then? Why wasn't it written in 1970 or much later on? So I thought to myself, what was happening in that year? And it came to my realization that in 1958, the US civil rights movement was in motion. People were trying to do something to make sure that eventually African nations gained their independence sometime soon. And Nigeria was, you could say, almost at the edge of grasping their independence. So I felt the book was probably able to push the average Nigerian as well as activists to, it kind of ignited the zeal in them to push forward for their independence during such times.
Right.
Then another thing that came to my mind when I thought of the year in which it was written was that there were many other pre-colonial books during that time. There were so many books that dealt with this topic of colonialism. But there was something quite different about this book, something unique, because this book was able to view Africans in an alternate lens. So many colonialists viewed Africans as barbaric, animalistic savages, but this book didn't do that.
Yes. But Achebe was one of us.
Yeah, he was.
So yeah.
You'd expect that he'd probably kind of view Africans in a much different way from the colonialists.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. But yes, you're absolutely right. There was a movement at that time, and people who came from that post-war generation, to me, they were very heroic people, because I'm comparing them to people of my generation who were more concerned, Nigerians of my generation, to be more specific, who were more concerned at the time that we came of age with making a living,
Yes.
rather than having an influence politically or otherwise
Yes.
on the way the country was going, in the direction the country was going. We didn't have that need to influence the direction in which our country was going. And that's what I've always admired the previous generation for. And also their writers, their
Yes.
concerns, their conceits at the time that they were writing are quite different from ours.
Yes, I agree completely.
Yeah,
Because times are changing, they're dynamic.
absolutely. What would you say, before we get back to the essay, a young lady of a different generation, the internet generation, are your concerns now? What is it that, as young Nigerians, that you think about, the things that matter to you, the things you care about, the things you want to change?
Well, first of all, I think a huge concern for probably my generation would be the direction this country is going. It's easy to criticize, to blame government, to blame that person or this person. But I think we need to think more of what we can do to help. After all, it's our country. So I think that would be a major concern for this generation.
So you're saying that you do have anxiety about the direction in which the country is going, but I'm wondering if that anxiety translates to anything. Do you feel that you have the power to make any changes, or are you just going to survive regardless of where the country is going?
Well, I feel that every person wants to feel important, wants to feel as if they can do something in their environment that would make a difference. So I feel that it's all about finding your voice, basically.
Absolutely, in whatever you're doing, whatever endeavor
Yeah.
that you intend to do. But back to your essay.
Yeah.
And I'm not someone who's very good at interviewing, but hopefully you're enjoying this conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the essay, the different perspectives that you used in it. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Okay, I would. So apart from basically thinking about the time which it was written, I thought about what message that Chinua Achebe was trying to pass across to the reader. After all, the book is meant for the audience, for the reader. So I was trying to analyze that message. What was he trying to pass across? And I felt that, first of all, apart from kind of altering the image and view of Africans during those pre-colonial times, I felt he was just trying to pass across an amazing story. It's so detailed, and I felt that my favorite part of the book was his coherent use of language.
Right.
It was easy to understand, and yet, even though he was making use of these simple words, he still passed a message across.
Yeah, sometimes it's actually harder to write simpler.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes it is. Yeah. Okay, and then back to the bigger picture. We've talked a little bit about what your interests are. Obviously, writing is one. No, you don't write. Do you write?
I do enjoy
The
writing
essays,
a bit.
but you
yeah.
don't write fiction or anything like that.
Well, sometimes I'm fond of just thinking of a plot in my head and writing down the first chapter and just stopping it there and kind of.
Do you actually do it?
Well, I've done it once or twice, so
The beginnings of a novel, or
just basically maybe the first chapter.
okay.
So
It seems to me that from the little discussion that we've had before and now, that you are a very organized person in your thinking. Even, are you?
yeah, I'd say I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell. And you're an organized thinker as well.
Yeah.
So you think about plots, think about getting the first chapter out.
Yes.
Well, that helps.
It does.
Definitely.
Practice makes perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But also just getting something on paper does. Because a lot of people have ideas and they never follow through.
They never.
I'm really pleased that you followed through on the essay.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever reason, your mother said you didn't tell her about it. Which is a good thing as well. It shows that you're independent
Yeah.
and a little bit sneaky.
Yeah,
But that's
you could
okay.
say,
It's good to be
yeah.
sneaky when you're a writer.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to overtalk an idea. And the best thing is if something actually happens.
Yeah, that's
And this is
important.
wonderful. So tell us about your prize.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to Germany to attend the Frankfurt Book Fair sometime around this year. In addition, I'm going to get 50,000 naira worth of books.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
So are you looking forward to your trip?
Yeah, I am actually, yeah. I am.
Have you ever been to Germany before?
No, I haven't been to Germany, so I'm quite excited. I don't really know what to expect as such.
Do you know that the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, NIIA, in Victoria Island, Lagos, has a fascinating and resourceful library? Imagine seeing books published in 1932 and some of the most current international journals in one place. But my favorite part is the press section where you can find Nigerian newspaper cuttings dating back to the 1960s. Get ready for a glimpse into the NIIA library.
It opens with a gate of arts, moves into windows of creativity,
She finds the only English word she knows from somewhere hidden in the belly of a 4'9" body, and instead of "I won't care," she greets us with "Bye bye."
branches into rooms of color, and ends with a roof of imagination.
Walk into Art House. The pieces all come together at 9:30 p.m. every Saturday. Art House, life is out.
What do you do to preserve these books, particularly the very old ones? Like this is 93 years old.
Yes, we are digitizing these books nowadays because you can see it's obvious that the pages are now brittle, they are falling off, and with time you will hardly be able to read what's on it. As we open it, it's all falling into pieces. But once you digitize it, that is what you do is scan it onto the computer and it is saved. And that way you have a permanent record. And the good thing about digitizing is that multiple users can use it. That is, you can have multiple access. Multiple access is online. You can have this is only you that can read it at a time. But once it's digitized, it's many people can have access to the e-copy and share it. You can send it out. You don't have to come to the library. You can just tell me you want this and send you a copy of it. You can email it to anybody. And that's it.
93 years old book. Wow.
That's a good one, yes. You know the outcome.
I wonder how many of these books remaining in this one.
And this is the image of the library, even the image of the institute. So in this section, we have the reference services section, we have the circulation section. Like the word connotes circulation. It is, how the books go in and come back. Because here, this library, you have people who are members can only borrow books. So you can take 5 books at a time for a period of 1 month, and then we'll bring it back. If you want it again, we will renew it. All the materials down here are reference materials. They don't go out. But all the books up there are books that circulate. They go out. And if you're a member, you are able to borrow books. And in this section, we have both online materials and hard copy materials. We subscribe to a database called EBSCO. That's about 10,000 journals. Yes. And then we also have another database called Justo. These are more dated materials, and it is a free online database.
Rich man says, come work for me.
I'm the librarian in charge of the documentation services. We have more than 100 journals coming into the library. Yes, more than. But now we have like 50 journals. We index like 50 journals. Government funding, but we are trying. But we still get like donations occasionally from British Council and some international organizations. The World Bank too gives us materials. After we had indexed journals, we do a quarterly current awareness list. This will circulate to our library clientele, most especially our research staff and the people that are members of the institute. We do this, we send this current acquisitions list to our library clientele by email. We call it InfoDoc. And yes, this is quarterly, comes out 4 times in a year. And our journals are apt to meet world affairs. We have things on economic development, world politics, political science, political sociology, international politics, international trade, international relations, and military arts and science. We have a lot of things in our library.
So how often do you come here and do everything here?
I do like 2 hours here every day, just to acquaint myself with books. You know, these things come out monthly, quarterly, yearly. So you have to refresh your memory time and again, regularly, to see how what it is you learned in school years back apply to what obtains now. And then when you mix, you know, the knowledge of the past and the present, you can kind of predict what's going to happen in the future. So that's what's all about.
This is the newspaper library, the press library.
Press library.
Press library. And what we have here mostly are clippings, newspaper clippings, pamphlets, conference papers, lectures, workshop papers and things like that. Generally, ephemeral materials. This is where we keep them. And the newspaper is marked, and then this is mounted.
How many papers do you do a day?
We subscribe to 5 newspapers.
Eight
now.
8 newspapers.
It used to be more than that before. As a result of funding, we have reduced the number of newspaper we cut every day. We now have 8 newspapers. The newspaper clippings are classified by subject and the geographical location. So, for example, we have a file on Nigeria politics and government. This is one of our files.
Wow.
And in this file, Nigerian politics and government, 1963 to 65.
Wow.
You can see
the actual 1963 Nigerian newspapers.
Yes.
Wow.
For example, as you were, this is a clipping, January 8, 1965. As you were cabinet.
As you were cabinet.
These are old faces at our office. 2nd of December 1965, day of shame and disgrace. This is from the Dr. Para, Premier of Eastern Nigeria, has said that October 11th will ever go down in history as a day of shame and disgrace. Oh. This is by the former Prime Minister of Eastern Nigeria. This was in December 1965. This is the editorial. This is an editorial. No one party system. Ogoja people.
To what? To press
for their own state.
So this has been going on for a long time.
It has been going on. This was in October 3rd, 1966. You know, and no invasion of the Midwest.
October 1st, 1966.
1966.
Which paper is this?
Morning Post.
Morning Post.
Morning Post. Morning Post.
So when we gather these books, we make sure we get them stamped so that they don't develop legs and walk away. So we stamp them and we process them. So the first process, we accession them, then cataloging. So I have my people here. After acquiring the books, this is the processing office where we do cataloging and classification of the books. As much as possible, we try as much as to describe the book. That is what we call descriptive cataloging. Then we give it the core mark, which is classification. After classification, we do finishing. We put the bookmark and everything will be done before sending them to the room.
Ekiti State Government is sponsoring 100 students to the Ake Arts and Book Festival taking place in Abeokuta, Ogun State. The one-day online registration process will commence at 12 noon on 3rd of October on www.akefestival.org. To qualify, students must be indigenes of Ekiti State and must be attending a tertiary institution in Ekiti State. Following verification, the names of the approved students will be available on the website on the 1st of November. Tade Ikpadeola, Amu Nnadi, and Promise Ogochukwu have been announced as the final shortlist for the 2013 edition of the Nigeria Prize for Literature, sponsored by Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited. Our book of the week is one that I am currently reading and thoroughly enjoying. It's titled Soldiers of Fortune by Max Seolon. Now, if you enjoy politics and history, especially that of Nigeria, then this is a book you absolutely have to read. Trust me on this. It covers the 1983 to 1993 military era in Nigeria. Some may find it controversial, but none will deny the extent of research put into the book. It's an excellent one. Get yourself a copy, read it, and let's know what you think. Hopefully, Max Seolon will be joining us soon on the channel's book club to review the book. We'll be happy to hear from you through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.